distinguished guests, esteemed members of the academic community, I express my sincere appreciation to the presiding chancellor, deputy chancellors, both administration and academics, the respected board of regents, faculty members, program director, course advisor, fellow students, all protocols duly observed. I am Adegoke Dr. Oluleke Newton, currently pursuing my PhD in Church Administration and Management at Real Life Christian College and Seminary. Today I'm honored to present the insight geared from my research on the following topic: exploring the impact of human resource management practices on employee satisfaction and organizational effectiveness in church settings. This research paper exploits the relationship between human resource management, HRM, its practices, and their profound impact on both employee satisfaction and organizational effectiveness within the unique context of church settings. Focusing on the ecclesiastical realm, the study unveils the strategic adaptation of HRM function to align with spiritual principles and church mission. It explores the integration of spiritual consideration within HRM, emphasizing the holistic development of employees as both professionals and spiritual beings. Furthermore, the research investigates the operative function tailored for the church community, addressing aspects such as job analysis, recruitment, training, and employees' welfare. By employing a comprehensive review of literature and drawing insight from key scholars, the paper offers valuable perspective on the strategic alignment of HRM with church goals and present an analogy portraying Jesus as an exemplar human resource professional. The study concludes by addressing challenges in church HRM, nurturing competence, and fostering employees' engagement, providing recommendations for enhancing satisfaction and effectiveness in church settings. In Chapter 1, we set the stage by delving into the background and essence of human resource management, which is known as HRM. HRM, typically a compass for organizational success, takes on a distinctive role in churches, harmonizing spiritual principles with traditional management practices. We discuss the significance of HRM in church settings, emphasizing its role as a stewardship function where human resources are viewed as spiritual aspects. Unique challenges in church HRM are outlined, from aligning practices with spiritual values to balancing diverse volunteers' motivations. The research objectives focuses on evaluating HRM's adaptation to align with the spiritual mission, assessing its impact on employee satisfaction, and exploring contribution to organizational effectiveness. Our study scope encompasses churches of various denominational and sizes, recognizing the diversity in their structures and practices. In subsequent chapters, we will delve into specific HRM functions within church settings, drawing parallels between traditional HRM and the unique requirement of spiritual communities. Our goal is to contribute valuable knowledge that empowers churches to thrive both spiritually and organizationally. In chapter 2 of our exploration, we delve into the intricate adaptation of HRM functions. We delve in chapter 2 of our exploration. We delve into the intricate adaptation of HRM functions to the unique dynamics of a church setting. Within the spiritual context, HRM transforms conventional managerial function into a distinctive paradigm, blending administrative efficiency with spiritual discernment, drawing insight from scholars like Dessler 2017, Goodman 2004, and others. We uncover the sacred task of aligning human resource planning, HRP, with the divine mission, crafting organizational structure that nurtures both professional and spiritual growth. Operative functions tailored for the church community unfold as a news journey. Job analysis and design take on a sacred dimension, entwining spiritual gifts with roles crucial for fulfilling the church's mission. Recruitment becomes a spiritual exercise, designing contributors to the communal spiritual journey. Training and development extend beyond skill building, nurturing spiritual maturity. Employee welfare integrates pastoral care, recognizing the dual nature of the employees, fostering employees' relations, adopt a reconciliation approach, echoing biblical principles, maintaining a purpose driven workplace ensures continuous alignment with the church's mission. This chapter redefines traditional HR practice by embracing a holistic approach, acknowledging employees not just as contributors to organizational goals, but as spiritual beings within the church community. In chapter 3, we delve into the strategic alignment of human resource management with the overarching goal of a church. Strategic HRM in this context transcends conventional practices by infusing a spiritual focus into the formulation and evaluation of employees' program, recognizing employees as not only contributors to organizational success, but spiritual beings on a collective journey. Strategic HRM entails formulating employees' programs with a spiritual lens, integrating spiritual elements into training, leadership development, and wellness initiatives. This approach goes beyond traditional HR practices, with training program incorporating biblical teachings, leadership development nurturing spiritual qualities, and wellness initiatives addressing both physical and spiritual well-being. Evaluation of this program introduces a spiritual metrics, assessing their impact not only on professional development but also on spiritual growth. The continuous evaluation process includes spiritual effectiveness, ensuring programs contribute meaningfully to the spiritual journey of the church community. The alignment of HRM with church mission and values is foundational, involving a discernment process in human resource planning (HRP) and recruitment that goes beyond skill matching to spiritual discernment. Strategic leadership development extends beyond managerial skills to foster spiritual leadership qualities aligning with the church's mission and their approach, aligning with the church's mission driven approach. Quantifying HR contributions to spiritual growth introduces benchmarking spiritual metrics, aligning business outcomes with spiritual objectives, and transparently communicating the impact of HR on spiritual well-being. These measures ensure that HR practices in the church contribute not only to organizational effectiveness, but also to the fulfillment of the church's mission and the spiritual well-being of its members. In essence, strategic HRM in a church setting strikes a delicate balance between managerial efficiency and spiritual principles, contributing to both organizational success and the holistic development of the church community. The integration of the spiritual consideration within HR practices reflect a comprehensive approach, recognizing the dual nature of individuals as both employees and spiritual beings within the church community. In chapter 4, we explored an intriguing analogy: Jesus as an exemplar HR professional. Now, I know that in the realm of human resource management, HRM, one might not immediately associate the teachings of Jesus with conventional HR practices. However, a closer examination reveals that Jesus, in his role as a spiritual leader, displayed remarkable HR skills that resonate with modern management principles. Here we delve into how Jesus functioned as a divine HR professional, focusing on recruitment and selection, onboarding, learning and development, performance management, recognition and retention, and ultimately succession planning. Let's look at the first: recruitment and selection. In the process of establishing his ministry, Jesus adopted a strategic approach to recruitment, which is slated in John chapter 1, verse 35 to 51. By building an employer brand based on divine purpose, Jesus attracted disciples from all facets of life who would become the foundation of his movement, as depicted in the Bible passages such as the call of Peter, the call of Andrew, the call of James, the call of John. These we can also in the book of Luke, chapter 5, verse 8 to 11. The call of Levi or Matthew, as we can see in the book of St. Luke, chapter 5, verse 27 to 28, and the ordination of the 12, which is slated in Luke, chapter 6, verse 12 to 16. Jesus engaged in workforce planning, ultimately selecting 12 apostles to play the key role in his mission amongst the 120 disciples that he had. The second thing we look at there is onboarding. Jesus understood the importance of effective onboarding in ensuring that his disciples were in alignment with the mission and the awareness of their expectation concerning their calling. In Luke chapter 6, Jesus shared critical teachings including the Beatitudes, the world's laws of love, laws of retaliation, the golden rule, laws of mercy, laws of justice, warning against following blind leaders, goal of every believer, and the parable of two foundations. Then in the third thing we look at is the learning and the development as displayed by Jesus. Throughout their time with Jesus, the disciples and apostles were engaged in continuous learning and development. In the book of Matthew, chapter 13, verse 1 to 23, we can see these examples. Even in the parable of the sower, we could see the on the job training that Jesus, made available to them, teaching them on prayers, as we can see in the book of Luke, chapter 11, verse 1 to 4, teaching them about humility, which we can see in the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 46 to 48, and the glimpses of the coming kingdom, which we could see in the book of Luke, chapter 9, verse 27 to 36. These were all the part of the developmental approach and plan that Jesus Christ put in place. Jesus aimed not just to impart knowledge, but to shape their character and understanding of the divine mission. The fourth on the list there is the performance management, which is quite crucial. Jesus, as a divine manager, took a keen interest in the performances of each and every of his disciples. He checked their understanding of the teachings and of the kingdom they are calling to. That we can see in the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 13 to 20. He tested their commitment level to both himself and their calling, which we could see in the book of Matthew, chapter 16, verse 24 to 26. He addressed issues, which we could see in the book of Matthew 17, verse 14 to 21. He also provided guidance. Notably, Jesus assessed Peter's loyalty and spoke about supporting him after Peter's upcoming denial, as we can see in the book of Luke 22, 31 to 34. Exemplaring a passionate and a compassionate and forward-looking approach to performance management, Peter was not the first disciple. I'm sure you know that. Then you could be asking, why was Peter chosen to be the head of the apostles, even though he was not the first disciple and he was not the one called the beloved of the disciples? Don't forget, Andrew was the first disciple that Jesus had, and John was the one called the beloved John. John who always put his head on the chest of Jesus. And Andrew was the first disciple that Jesus had. But yet Jesus did not choose Peter as yet Jesus did not choose John or Andrew to be the successor that will lead the other apostles. And I'm sure you might have thought about that. How come Jesus Christ did not choose Andrew or John? I'm sure it is because he took time to analyze their performance. Now, Andrew, for instance, was the disciple of John the Baptist, and you could see how he deserted his master and ultimately followed Jesus. I'm sure Jesus Christ will have considered that this guy is a deserter. If I allow him to be the head at the end of the day, ultimately, he may desert the assignment. So Jesus did not choose him to be the leader, but Jesus rather chose Peter because he has seen that Peter takes all things seriously and follows every instruction. For instance, when Jesus was at the sea, Peter asked, "Are you the one that is there or you are a ghost?" And Jesus said, I'm the one. And they said to Jesus, if you're the one that is there, bid me come. And he took the risk. The other disciples were right there in the ship. None of them made the attempt to take the step. But Peter took the risk to step into the water while the other disciples were seated there. That will show you the audacity and the daring nature he had, which every leader should have in taking the bold step for others to follow. And at the other time, Jesus commanded his disciples to go and sell their cloak and buy sword. And I'm sure some will have said, well, we have left everything to follow you. What else do we have that we're going to sell again? But Peter followed Christ 100%. He sold what he had and he bought the sword. And how do we know this? When they came after Jesus, he was the only one who brought out the sword to defend Jesus. I'm sure these attributes could have been as a result. This attribute could have been one of the reasons that Christ saw that made him to choose him, even as the one that would take over him instead of John the Beloved or the Andrew that was the first of all the apostles. So you could see that in all these, their performances were critically analyzed by the master to know who to choose to fit in into specific position. Then number 5 is recognition and retention. Jesus recognized and rewarded the effort of his disciples, fostering loyalty and commitment, as we can see in Matthew 26, verse 6 to 13. The retention rate was exceptionally high because among the 12, he was still able to keep 11, even though Judas was the one that betrayed him and was left out and later was replaced, as we can see in Matthew 27, verse 3 to 5. The disciples were motivated by the prospect of eternal recognition with their names written in heaven, emphasizing the long-term perspective that fueled their commitment. And then number 6, we could see the succession plan. Jesus' impact extends far beyond his immediate disciples. Through their effort and the subsequent generations of disciples, the church has grown to over 2.2 billion followers today because there was a succession plan that we can see in Matthew 28, 18 to 20. This exemplifies a successful succession plan where the disciples raised new leaders, ensuring the continuity and the expansion of the divine mission. In conclusion, the divine HR practices of Jesus offers profound insight for contemporary leaders. His approach to recruitment, onboarding, learning and development, performance management, recognition, retention, and succession planning reflect timeless principles that resonate across professionals. As we reflect on Jesus in our own professional journey, we may draw inspiration from divine HR professionals who not only transforms life, but also lay the foundation for a global movement. In chapter 5, we explore the evolving expectation competency cluster and the strategic approach needed to address distinct challenges. Modern expectation demand the nose integration of spiritual principles with HR practices, requiring professionals to actively contribute to the church's mission beyond administrative role, as stated by Ulrich in 1997. This extends to fostering a positive work environment aligned with spiritual echoes of the church. This we could see stated by Guest, 1999. Tailoring HR competency clusters for spiritual leadership. The chapter identifies 4 key clusters: technical skill involving understanding religious dynamics, interpersonal skill grounded in spirituality, conceptual and design skill alignment with the church mission, and the business skill approach with a spiritual focus. Then, distinct challenges in church HRM include balancing spirituality and organizational objective, managing diversity and inclusion with a faith-based setting, addressing spiritual burnout and well-being, and implementing effective succession planning for spiritual leadership, as stated by Dessler 2017, Cox and Blake 1991, Rothwell et al. 2018. The dynamic approach advocates involves aligning modern HR practices with spiritual principles. By doing so, HR professionals contribute not only to organizational effectiveness, but also to the spiritual growth and well-being of the church community, emphasizing the holistic nature of the church HR. Now, in chapter 6, we explore the crucial interplay of employed engagement and spiritual leadership within church human resource management for the creation of a purpose-driven and harmonious church community. We stated by acknowledging that employee engagement within a church community surpasses traditional boundaries. It embraces emotional, spiritual, and professional dimensions, echoing Carroll's 1990 calls for a personal engagement. This is a comprehensive approach spans spiritual well-being, establishing a positive work environment, alignment with church values, spiritual recognition, and a unique focus on the professional development and infuse spirituality. Moving forward, we highlighted HR's pivotal role in nurturing spiritual leaders who inspires and guide based on profound spiritual principles. The process involves intentional practice such as identifying and developing these leaders through mentorship, experiential learning, and fostering a culture grounded in servant leadership, encouraging not only professional but also spiritual growth among employees takes precedence with a strong emphasis on integrating spiritual values into performance management. In the final act, we unravel the transformative influence of HRM in shaping a purpose driven and harmonious church community. This journey encompasses aligning HR practices with the church mission, ensuring mission alignment, recruitment, onboarding design for spiritual integration, learning and developing programs addressing spiritual capacities, performance management rooted in spiritual goals and the recognition and retention strategy with a spiritual focus. Succession planning, a key element, ensures the continuity of purpose-driven leadership deeply connected to the spiritual mission. Then, in conclusion, our exploration indicates that human resource management practices significantly impact employee satisfaction and organizational effectiveness. Integrating spiritual elements enhances satisfaction, while aligning HR functions with organizational goals boosts effectiveness. And our recommendation proposes holistic training, spiritual recognition, mission driven recruitment, and performance metrics to propel church human resource management as a transformative force. Thank you for listening. God bless you.